2022 Endurance E-Racing World Championship brought to you in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriots, Aztec Sim Sports, Global Flix, Motorvision.tv, Sten Goldman, ESTV, and Film Vault Limited.
Just think about the fun things you do online. Diving into movies you love. Shopping. Enjoying free Wi-Fi with your morning coffee. Wait, who's that guy? Meet the Digital Snooper. It can be your internet service provider peeking at what you do online, or a cyber criminal on a mission to snitch your credit card info, or a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. Uh-oh. But don't worry. NordVPN keeps all these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. The best part? It's just a click. Yep, internet security is that easy.
You can get NordVPN today at a 60% discount by visiting gtr24h.org/VPN. Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
Welcome back everybody to the GTR 24H EEWC. This is round number 3, the 12 hours of Sebring, where we are just past the halfway mark of the race. My name is Kieran McGinley. Chris has gone off for a little bit of a break, so I'm afraid you're stuck with me for the next couple of hours. Oh, aren't you lucky? Well, since you're away, it started raining. Very slightly, by the scientific measurement of 0.03 millimeters per hour. What it does mean is the track is getting damp. It's getting more and more damp in certain parts of the circuit. Now, it could be nothing to worry about for now. Chris and I were talking yesterday about this psychological rain, but yeah, I think it might be something for the drivers to have a look at and try and stay on top of. At the moment, we're watching Dennis Eschenko makes his way around. I did hear production might have had a video or replay ready of the Viaductum crash, which happened just before the advert break, and here's what happened then. But as they turn in, oh, that's a hardware failure. Yeah, their car just kept turning right. That's unfortunate. They've been plagued by issues all day and even rolled back towards the circuit. Luckily, they got it back to the pit lane, but That's a huge shame for Viducton. They aren't back into the race though, so they would have had to take the relevant penalties to get back into the race. But at the end of the day, that's not good news for Viducton whatsoever. Yes, I think we could call it drizzle around the circuit. What this drizzle is doing is making the track a little bit damp. Air temperature 31 degrees, track temperature 25. It's the highest it's been so far, even up the night sky. There you can see at the top there, the rainfall is happening. Damn, it's getting damp out there. That's main things to be talking about at the moment. So certain lines, certain points of the track, the drivers are going to have to be careful of. We'll see how that plays out. Here comes Dennis Eschenko into the pits, and you can see on the bonnet there, you can see the drops of water on the front. So it definitely is raining out there. Drivers, and for the teams, how long do they have to leave it before they have to think about getting some, maybe even think about doing anything to react to the rain? They might not have to do anything yet. It might be dry enough to keep them out there for the time being. I did see Chris say we might be speaking to Wojtek Polesny. We heard we were going for an advert break and he decided to run away. So Wojtek, if you're happy to have a chat with me, I know with me, but the offer is there. The offer is there, Wojtek. Come on back. James Dziuba then in the 164 satellite racing car, currently third in the LMP2s. We see Dennis Eschenko in the top right hand corner, pull away from his pit box and stay. Is that Dennis Eschenko staying in the car? It is Dennis Eschenko still in the car. So no driver change for 17 of Unison Racing. I suppose we should probably give you a quick rundown of how the top three look in each class. And just as soon as the rain started, it stopped again. Might be worth keeping an eye on though. DPI at the moment is the number 18 Burst eSports Simplexity. The standings are here. Oh, lovely. First place then, Dawid Mroczek in the Burst eSports Simplexity machine. Second place, 64 Moradness eStars. Niello Pastorino is behind the wheel. Third place, SEM9 Axle. Josh Perline in the car. Then in fourth place, we just saw him leave the pit lane. Unison Racing, number 17, Dennis Eschenko behind the wheel. Arturas Masaitis in the number 33 team Adrenaline is currently fifth, and Team Viducton are rounding off our 6 hypercars. Getting us through the LMP2 class. Top of that one at the moment, it's SEM9 Axle who lead the way with Muhammad Aleef at the wheel. Then it's Deuces Motorsport Club in the number 15, Darius Andrei behind the wheel. Third place, the 164, James Dziuba in 164. Then it's the 94 Burst eSports Scooter Sunglasses, 94 of Tom Oldenmenger, and rounding off our 5 is Benza Horvat at the number 77. We haven't seen for quite some time. GTE then. Well, when I last left you, there was a great battle going on for the lead of the race, and at the moment it's the 74 Deuces Motorsport Club of Tony Janssen. That's why he wanted to see the GTE, because he's part of it. Oh, makes sense now. 717 Nikolai Bezrikov in the Unison Racing car, second place. Third place, the number 45 DS Sim Racing Lab in that podium spot. MCM Motorsports in the number 27 in fourth place. Then it's the 264 Satellite Racing, Juan Amaya at the wheel in fifth place. ID Simsport in sixth place in the 166, Magnus Bergrun at the moment at the wheel. Seventh place, Downwards are currently not running, but they are 54 Musto Pescara, the 53 Musto Pescara, and the 67 Mugen Sim Racing not currently lapping the circuit as it stands. A huge shame for both Musto cars. There we look at the GT3 running at the moment, and CKR are leading the way in that Brazilian liveried McLaren. Leandro Verla at the wheel. 404 Glam Racing, Jeff Van Eylen. I do apologise, Jeff. I hope I got that right. Second place at the moment. Daniel Krasnay in the 585 Acetec Sim Sports by Valente Racing, rounding off the top 3. Telefoinigan is in fourth place. Michael Slot in the 188 behind the wheel. The 777 of the DSR Gadget Husik machine. Stephen Salsgaard is currently in 5th place. Then in 6th place, it's the B32 racing car. And then not running at the moment, the 82 Christopher Kianek, both in Mugen Sim Racing, both in GTE and GT3, currently not running. Also, not a good day for Mugen Sim Racing. And that covers our order at the moment. It has stopped raining, but that doesn't mean the moisture or any part of the water has gone anywhere. And I believe if we drag Wojtek Polesny from the green room into our little commentary box, we can have a chat with one of the GTE drivers in Deuces Motorsport Club. Wojtek, can you hear us?
Yes, of course. Hello.
Wojtek, great to have you in the box. I have no wonder the GTE has been so great. One of your drivers was asking to actually watch it, Tony Jensen. Now I see why. How's it going for you? You've got nearly a 40-second lead at the moment. How's it been so far at the halfway point?
Yes, of course. We have some 40-second gap to second, but the guys are on the other strategy, so they will be close to the finish.
And we did see it starting to rain out there. It's since stopped raining, but it might be damp in places. Obviously, we're in Florida, so that rain could sort of appear from anywhere. How are you equipped to cope for this changeable weather as we head into the night time?
Honestly, we are waiting for more rain, but they're falling few drops, so it's up to slicks right now, and nothing changing the strategy.
Nothing yet, but at what point would you sort of start to think about it? Because we just saw a bit there, it stopped raining now, but what would sort of push you towards saying maybe we should think about changing tyres?
It must be raining for some 5 or 6 minutes with a huge thunderstorm, but yeah, it seems to be not on the forecast.
Not on the forecast. I mean, Chris and I were joking about it when it was Monza 2021. It was the weather just sort of conveniently went around the circuit, so we never actually got to see some rain. But I mean, talk to us about Deuces so far this season, because it's been a pretty good season in GTE for you.
Yeah, we are preparing so much for each race, and it's a shame I wasn't there in Monza. We were close to the win as well. It's in Matsuzaka, but yeah, so far it's a good season, but we are thinking all about races, and we want to win everyone.
And I'll leave you with one more question. You've got the pole here. How confident are you? Can you convert that to the win? Is there anyone in particular you're looking at this time around?
For primary, we are setting the car for the races, and quali mode is up to me. So when I have so much time to spend quali training, it's maybe a little advantage over the others, but I think the qualification is not important.
Well, you say you put all those hours in, and it's enough to get you all 3 pole positions so far. So I must be doing a good job for you so far. But Wojtek, thank you so much for having a chat to us. Good luck to you and your team for the rest of the race.
Thank you. Enjoy the race.
Very much. Wojtek Polesny of Deuces Motorsport Club in GTE. Their car currently being driven by Tony Jensen, who was in the chat earlier, wanting to have a look at that battle. Yes, it was so close. Now I understand why, because he's part of that would have made sense, wouldn't it, at the time, had I not connected the dots. Anyway, they are currently leading the championship by 11 points ahead of Mugen Sim Racing, the 67, currently not running in the race, which would be a big advantage for them. Their closest rival so far in this race is Unison Racing. They had a podium at Matsusaka. They finished 3rd place there. They are currently running 2nd place right now, but their Monza to raid, they didn't finish the race. They only scored 4 points, so they put themselves a little bit further down the order. So Deuces have a really good chance here to further extend their lead. But of course, we've only just got past the halfway mark. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. We've still got a long way to go. There's James Dziuba then, who's trying to find his way through. Oh, we got the Gadget Husik car in the middle of the track. I think one of the cars behind clipped it. Was that the Team Adrenaline car that clipped the Gadget Husik car? It was nose first into the final corner here, and we might be able to get a better look at what happened to Steven Salsgaard in that 777 DSR Gadget Husic. Give the replay a bit of time to buffer here so that we can have a look back and see what happened. But somewhere in Sunset Bend, this car went around. Let's see if the replay will behave itself. Doesn't look likely at the moment, but we'll leave that for now. But yes, a huge moment for the 777 Gadget Husic car. Steven Salsgaard didn't quite see how he ended up facing the wall on the inside. Well, we can sure as much say that the Team Adrenaline car got caught up in that one. As we ride now, or we watch on with James Dziuba once again. Second place in the LMP2 class as it stands, and trying to chase down Darius Andrei in the Deuces Motorsport Club car. Looking at the gaps between them at the moment, it's apparently James Dziuba is 2.4 away from the next car, and that next car, that does look like a Deuces livery in the night time. That definitely does look like a Deuces livery in the night time. So Dziuba's not very far away from battling for the lead. I think we have the 777 replay of what happened at Sunset Bend. Production just lining that one up. So here we are then from a top-down view. Let's have a look and see what happened through Sunset Bend. But what happened here then, going in towards the final corner? Runs wide, loses the back end completely. Oh, that's good driving from the first car. Then the Armada comes through, and I think Team Adrenaline did clip the 777. So it was a loss of the back end then from the 777. Steven Salsgaard managed to reverse it and get back underway again. But how much damage is there to that car, and how much damage would there be to the Team Adrenaline car? They just completely had nowhere to go. By the time they knew there was a car spun around like that, they just could not react in time. Well, Dziuba managed to make his way through, and he's closing in on the car ahead. And that car ahead, Darius Andrei in the Deuces Motorsports Club machine, heading their way now in towards the hairpin turn, or they get back on the throttle once again. And we've got another, I think we've got another angle of that 777 spin through the final corner. There it is, there's the spin, one of the LMP cars. I think that was the Deuces car. The LMP2 leader did a fantastic job in avoiding that one, Darius Andrei, because that happened so quickly. But there you see, 777, Steven Salsgaard did get moving again. I wonder who's in that Team Adrenaline car. It would have been Arturas Mercedes. Oh, only the one who's got a full motion rig would have felt that one, of course. It's just the way it runs, isn't it? Absolutely unbelievable how your luck is. But anyway, James Dziuba then closing in to the lead of this class, as there is the Team Adrenaline machine, Mercedes, right behind. The flags somewhere in Sector 1, which have been very quickly cleared, so possibly just a driver getting out of the way to let a faster car through. But we have another battle on our hands, and this time it's the battle for the lead of LMP2, as James Dziuba closes in. Last lap times then, 46.7 from Darius Andrei, 47.2 from James Dziuba. So Deuces Motorsport has oh no, I've read the wrong one, my apologies. 48.4 from Satellite Racing compared to a 49.2 from Deuces Motorsport. That makes more sense because I was reading the best lap times rather than the last lap times. So Dziuba is closing, and he's closing by quite a rate of knots so far. Nearly 0.8 of a second pulled out, closed in on the gap on that last lap alone. And I think Team Adrenaline car, there must be some damage, because at the moment it is struggling to find its way past. Even so, it's just sort of staying back at the moment. Dziuba managing to get past one of the GT cars. I believe that's going to be the MCM Motorsport car. Alvaro Incausti at the moment at the wheel. But Dziuba here just trying to keep himself to himself at the moment, and just putting in the laps, try and closing in under the night sky. Air temperature has dropped a degree to 30 degrees. You know, every degree matters, every bit of track and air temperature matters, since will be in the favour of the engine to run a little bit cooler. We ride on board looking back from the number 15 Deuces Motorsports car, Darius Andrei, the lead of LMP2 for now. And Sebastian DeVille is in the chat. Hello, Sebastian. He says Arturus managed to avoid the crash. It was very near, but there wasn't any contact. Oh, okay, and doesn't have any damage. Well, thank you very much, Sebastian, because it very much looked like you did make contact, but I'll take your word for it. So they did manage to get away with it. I was going to say, Arturus in that motion rig would have really felt that one. You'd have thought he'd know if he made contact. Team Viducton have put out a yellow flag in Sector 2, which has been cleared again, so maybe just a slight off-track excursion from them. Thank you for the information, by the way, Sebastian. If you want to, like Sebastian, let us know. We've got the YouTube chat. We've also got Twitter as well, if that's more your thing. Hashtag GTR24H. And if you do tweet us with that hashtag, we'll try and pick it up. And if it's clean, we'll use it. It's a bit like the drivers. As long as it's clean, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Darius Andrei then looking back, and the Team Adrenaline car has managed to find its way through. Obviously being the hypercar, I don't think James Dziuba would have been too much battling on that one, allowing Laters through. And that in itself has allowed Andrei to just build a little bit more of a gap behind, which I think Darius would absolutely take at that point. He'd be loving that one. Fine though. Just keeping his head down, keeping the pace up. There's the 264 satellite racing car. There's its, I would call it the sister car, James Dziuba at the moment. The 164 satellite racing machine, who is chasing down the lead of the class. It's only a couple of seconds up the road. Because we have seen a little bit of rain. I wonder what the weather forecast, the radar is showing us at the moment. Because, as we know with Florida, very, very difficult to predict any rainfall, as the weather fronts can just appear out of nowhere during the spring and summer months this warm season. And there's the B32 racing machine, the McLaren there. I can tell you there is rain pretty much all around the circuit at the moment, everywhere but the circuit itself, which, take that as you will, with a pinch of salt if you really want to. Yellow flags out in Sector 2. Didn't quite catch who that was, but they've got going again. So yes, the weather radar shows it's clear for now and clear for the next 10 minutes at least. But again, very difficult to say because this is Florida, of course. And Florida loves to just throw in a little bit of a curveball every now and again, especially with the weather. Dziuba is now right onto the back of Darius Andrei, in for the battle for the class lead as they make their way through the section of the track. Beyond that now, here they go through, I believe this is Tower Turn, which it is, down the Flying Fortress Straight, and once again we're treated to a great battle for the lead in the class. Heading our way now through Gendevian Bend before they get onto the power, on towards the quick run towards Le Mans Curve. Then now on towards the Ulman Straight, and there's the CKR machine, the McLaren there, the GT3 leader, just making sure he doesn't get too involved. And Dziuba, where will he go? He'll try the inside line, but that's a block there from Andrei. He wants him to go all the way around the outside here. James Dziuba has to oblige there, trying to steer in the side by side here, almost pushing each other through the corner. They just about make it through, but momentum is on Dziuba's side here as they head down the start-finish straight. Dziuba will have the inside line in towards turn one, and he does get the move. Dziuba puts Satellite Racing into the lead of LMP2. My goodness, did he need guts for that one. You see here, full lock to the right, as you see Deuces try to squeeze there. But James Dziuba was having absolutely none of it. Stuck it in there, made it stick. The bravery, the guts on full show. And that, from James Dziuba, is the move for the lead of the race. Very nicely done from Dziuba there. There's Alvaro Incausti, who's following on behind. And I think that's the Viducton car trying to find its way through. But that's the DIS Sim Racing Lab car up ahead. Now, there's a lap between these two cars, but as I left it last time around, about 2 and a bit hours ago, the DIS Racing Lab was trying to find its way past the likes of the Deuces and Unison cars to try and get onto the same lap. And now, this is a case of Sim Racing Lab. It's going to be the shoes on the other foot now, as Enkowski will try and get the MCM car back onto the same lap as Sim Racing Lab, as they make their way through in towards the final corner here. Still damp in places, in not many places, mind. It is starting to dry up again, but it will still be damp in places. Heading on to the start-finish straight for Enkowski. Down towards turn 1. What the lap times are between the two of them, and I'm going to say, actually they're very closely matched. 59.4 from Sim Racing Lab, 59.5 from Enkowski, and there behind is the 17 Unison car in hypercars. That's going to be fourth place Dennis Eschenko, who finds his way through, breezing past the GT cars. But I've got an update from production. They've been working very, very hard behind the scenes, and they're able to give us an as it stands, if it were to finish like this for Hypercar and LMP2. So let's give it a look. So if it were to finish like this is how the championship standings would look past the halfway stage. Burst Esports Simplexity would take an even further lead, 20 points ahead they would be of Moradness eSports. Then it would be Unison Racing in third place, Team Adrenaline in fourth, with SEM9 Axle 5th with those 33, and Team Viducton in 6th place with 19 points. Of course, that doesn't take into account of the to the checkered flag bonus points, so all 6 of them are running at the moment. All 6 of them at this point would have an extra point on, but the gaps would still be the same, so nothing changes there. And we've got a battle on our hands, so we're going to interrupt ourselves to watch on to that battle, as in Enkowski, this is a chance to get back onto the same lap as they now make their way in towards final corner, as Enkowski goes up the inside. I don't think Sim Racing Lab are going to make too much of a battle out of that. Enkowski then makes his way past, an important move, because now that's going to put them a lap closer and they can really get the hammer down. Also, an update for you, James Dziuba is receiving a stop-go 60-second penalty for making contact with the number 1 Viducton car in between turns 4 and 5. So we just saw that great battle for the lead for James Dziuba, but now he's got himself a 60-second stop-go penalty. Wow, that is a huge penalty to slap down there, and Dziuba is going to have to serve it, whether he likes it or not. And the question is, when does he serve it? What was the gap he managed to build up? Because not long after that, Deuces came into the pits. Anyway, here is how it would look for LMP2. SEM9 Axle would be top of the standings, but only just. And their podium at Sebring is the reason why. Burst Esports Good Sunglasses have a win, a second place and a fourth place, whereas SEM9 Axle have a win, a second place and a third place right now. So that's the reason SEM9 Axle would be top if it were to finish like this. Then it would be the 164 satellite racing car in third place. Deuces Motorsport Club would be in fourth. Team Iris would be fifth, with Cyberlinks Racing Team Iris number 7 not this race at the moment. They would still lead with those 17 and 6 points. Again, doesn't take into account the bonus points scored for making it to the checkered flag. Oh, that's very nice, production. You treat us too well, production. You really, really do. I wonder if we get the same for GTE and GT3 later on. Oh, they're working on it. Oh, you stars. You stars. We don't deserve you, production. Anyway, Enkowski then has got a bit of traffic up ahead as well. And we'll try and use a little bit of slipstream from the satellite machine up ahead. As one of them, a satellite LMP car, making its way past the satellite GTE car, which is it's only happened a couple of times this race, but we are expecting Dziuba into the pits, as race control have awarded him that 60-second stop-go penalty. All the time. As there's the Telephonigan car trying to make its way through. Telephonigan, sorry, production. He didn't actually shout at me, to be fair. They didn't even get the joke because they're too busy punching in the numbers. You know what? Totally understandable. I'll leave them to it. Inkowski then now trying to set focus on Juan Amaya, because this is going to be the battle for position for 4th place right now. And let's see what they can do. Inkowski's got a lot of pace on him, looking to the inside, then down in towards the hairpin turn. Does he have the room? No, he doesn't. The door is slammed shut, and Juan Amaya manages to hold on to 4th place for now. But Inkowski here has got a good turn of pace on him for the time being. He's all over the back of that satellite racing car. Juan Amaya is going to have to do quite a bit to make sure he keeps that MCM Motorsport car behind him. And again, look at it, filling the mirrors here. Does Inkowski on the satellite racing machine of Juan Amaya, just filling the mirrors with a little bit of MCM, a little bit of headlights as well, because here comes the DIS Sim Racing Lab machine. Now, they're not racing for position. They're a couple of laps ahead. It's very, very close between them, but they make it stick. And Inkowski here maybe thinking, you know what, that's not the battle I want. If I let you go, you could help me try and get Juan Amaya. And so what your thoughts instantly go to is, how can you benefit me? Actually, yes, you can. You can help me hunt down Juan Amaya. You can help me with a little bit of tow. And if Juan Amaya lets you through, chances are he's going to leave the space for me too. In towards Sunset Bend as we make our way through. And Juan Amaya here in the Corvette. The car now making its way on towards the start-finish line. It is the Corvette. I shouldn't have doubted myself. It is the Corvette. The Porsche of the DRS Sim Racing Lab making its way, or trying to make its way through. Inkowski then has dropped off a little bit there, not being in the slipstream perhaps, but he'll be hoping now he can draw into the satellite racing car again. Look how much more confident Inkowski is on the brakes. It really is something there. He's able to brake later. Able to have more confidence in the car once it's slowing down. And, well, it might be a chance here to go in towards Hairpin Bend. There you can see Juan Amaya's trying to go defensive against Inkowski, but Inkowski later on the brakes around the outside. He might have run a bit too deep, mind. He'll try and grab the apex, but no way through. Juan Amaya stays firmly ahead right now. And Inkowski is going to have to come up with something else if he wants to get past this satellite racing car. Here they go then, heading their way up. Are they side by side? They might have been for a brief second in towards Cunningham Corner. Now through Collier Curve and then towards Tower Turn. You can see Inkowski here all over the back of Juan Amaya. Now he's looking for a move up the inside at Tower Turn. No way through there. And a little bit of a poor exit from Juan Amaya. And here comes Inkowski then. He'll be on the outside as they head in towards the long left-hander of Bishop Bend. Still Inkowski puts his foot in and takes over the position then, going in towards Gembendian Bend and now on towards Le Mans Curve. And that is Inkowski who moves himself and his team up into 4th place. The pace was there. He just needed a move and he's made the move stick. Brilliant stuff from Inkowski there. And with that move, I think it's time to rest my voice for a little bit. Shall we go to a commercial break? When we come back, more of this, please. We'll be back in a few minutes.
The 2022 Endurance E-Racing World Championship brought to you in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriots, Aztec Sim Sports, Global Flix, Motorvision.tv, Sten Goldman, ESTV, and Film Vault Limited.
Just think about the fun things you do online. Diving into movies you love. Shopping. Enjoying free Wi-Fi with your morning coffee. Wait, who's that guy? Meet the Digital Snooper. It can be your internet service provider peeking at what you do online, or a cyber criminal on a mission to snitch your credit card info. or a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. Uh-oh. But don't worry, NordVPN keeps all these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. The best part? It's just a click. Yep, internet security is that easy.
You can get NordVPN today at a 60% discount by visiting gtr24h.org/VPN. Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
Welcome back then, and you rejoin us here as Deuces Motorsport Club with Darius Andrei is right onto the back of Burst Esports Good as Sunglasses. Tom Aldermenger at the moment trying to break away. Deuces have just, well, in the last couple of laps, have been into the pit lane. They are trying to battle their way through, and there goes the Burst Esports Simplexity machine making its way through. It might be Aldermenger coming into the pits in this lap, but nevertheless, it's going to mean that Deuces will try and use a little bit of slipstream from the Burst Esports Simplexity car up towards Sunset Bend and on towards the start-finish straight. Track has dried significantly over the last half an hour or so since it did start to rain, but still there's the damp patches out on track. There is Niello Pastorino in the 64 Moradness eStars car, currently second now, with SEM9 Axle into the pits. And I think production did have a chance to have a let me just check the LMP2 of, yes, Tom Aldermenger did come into the pits. So I think production had prepared for us during that commercial break provisional GTE and GT3 standings, and then they were holding off until that battle was decided, which it was. And now we can give you an as it stands. If it were to finish like this, Deuces Motorsport Club would be top of the standings, and well, best case scenario is that Unison are the ones who would win the race. If they can't win it, they'd rather Unison do, because it would extend their lead at the top of the table. It would put Unison in second this win. With Unison Racing, they would not get the points so far, and only 2 points would put them down to third place. The 54 Musto would be in fourth place. Fifth place would be the DIS Sim Racing Lab car. Sixth place would be the MCM27 motorsport car. Then it would be the 264 Satellite Racing machine, the 53 Musto Pescara car, and then the ID Sim Sport car, the 166, rounding off our teams. And having a look at GT3 on the other hand, we would look at something like this. CKR would go 10 points clear at the top, ahead of the 585 of Volante Racing by Acetec Sim Sports. Then it would be Mugen Sim Racing in third, only behind Volante by 3 points. B32 would then be fourth, again on 42, mighty close once you get into the midfield. Fifth place would be the 404 Glam Racing car, sixth place the DSR GadgetWhosit.dk car, and then Teleformingen would be at the bottom of the table, 32 points, but not too far away from their rivals up above. And those are your provisional standings if it were to finish like this. Of course, we've still got 5.5 hours, maybe just less than 5.5 hours left to go. Something crazy's happening in Say Production. The 777 car has run into a bit of trouble, as I'm hearing. We'll bring you what happened to the 777. That's Michael Ciccolini, who we saw just before my break, so about 2.5 hours ago, have the big off earlier on. And what has Michael Ciccolini, what's happened to him in the 777? Production are working hard to get us that replay so we can have a watch and have a look at what happened. In the meantime, we're watching on Dennis Eschenko, who's trying to chase down Niello Pastorino, and that will be the battle for position. Although we are expecting Eschenko to come into the pits, so this might be a short-lived battle here between Moradness, eStars and Unison Racing. In the meantime, I don't think they will mind one bit riding into the cockpit then of DS Sim Racing Lab, and I think we do have the 777 replay ready to go. Let's have a look and see what happened to Ciccolini then. We're coming through the fast right-hander, heading down towards, I think this is Bishop Bend here, and we make our way up towards the right. Oh, yeah, bit too much speed through there. And they try and rejoin. Oh, straight into the path of the SEM9 Axle car. Not good from Ciccolini then. He had the spin, but then tried to spin the car around, and there was absolutely nowhere for the LMP car to go there. I think that was the SEM9 Axle car, which would have been the class leaders, but from the top there, the livery, some liveries are all white at the top, so it's always hard to tell. However, I'm led to believe, I will believe myself, that it was one of the SEM9 Axle machines. But there's Josh Perry at the moment, third place now, once Dennis Eschenko has been into the pits. Air temperature has dropped to 28 degrees. It's dropped 4 degrees since I took over. 3 degrees since I took over. All but half an hour ago. So the track and air temperature will be dropping. I'm sure the track temperature will be dropping quite soon as well. But there's Juanamaya, who's in the 264 right now, heading up towards what I believe would be coming curve. Have the left-hander of Collier. You see, I'm getting there. We've got top right-hand corner there. James Dziuba is into the pits. Of course, they had to serve a 60-second stop-go penalty, which is going to put them and catapult them down. That's them serving their penalty, and that will be them leaving the pit lane, having served their stop-go 60-second penalty. A huge penalty to have. But in the meantime, they've just got to now make sure they keep pressing on with it. So Juanamaya then is 5th place in class in the 264 satellite racing car, and about 5 seconds back, is that right, from the next car? Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, about 5.5 seconds away from Alvaro Incausti. The Team Viducting car are back into the pits again. Great for them at the moment, but they can keep pressing on. They'll at least get a bonus point for finishing, but it has been such a tough day for Viducting so far. It really has. There's Alvaro Incausti then, who's putting in the laps, and not far behind him is Juanamaya in the 264. Of course, these two were having a great battle there, and is the gap in Juanamaya's favour. Looking at the last lap times, well, MCM 201.170, then Satellite Racing 264 201.289. So it's just in Encausti's favour at the moment, only just, but just is fine. Just is fine. Some people will be okay with just. I'd be okay with just, but then that's why I'm up here. There's the Team Adrenaline car trying to make its way through. believe Lewis is still behind. Oh, yes, he is. Arturos Messitis is still behind that wheel in that motion rig. That would make you sort of think about and second guess and moving towards a turn up the inside, because if there's contact, you're going to feel it, aren't you? That would keep me second guessing, I would say. But yeah, looks a lot of fun. Looks so much fun. One of my lets the SEM9 car, the LMP car, make its way through, driven by Muhammad Aleef. 47.8 from him. Next car would be the Deuces Motorsport Club car, Darius Andrei, and there you can see the highlights from the last hour. There's been so much going on that we have a chance to show you that. Of course, the Viducton car hitting the wall, that was a technical fault, it looked like, because the car just stays steering right. There was seemed like there was no attempt to correct the turn there, and of course the 777 spinning around, and although it doesn't look like it, that was not a collision, according to Team Adrenaline, who were right into that one, and well, they said no contact was made. Arturos made it through fine, so there we go. There's Pedro Delgado, who's now making his way out of the pit lane. There is a driver change for CKR. The Brazilian liveried McLaren makes its way back onto track. CKR have really been phenomenal, and especially today. It didn't start off on the right foot, but they're on the right foot now, just under a minute ahead of Glam Racing. But never watched endurance racing before, sure you'll know that minute and 40 seconds is nothing at all. Absolutely nothing at all. That's a Corvette. That's going to be the Satellite Racing 264 trying to make its way through. There's different classes here, but Delgado now takes over. He'll be looking to put in those laps, see what he can do to try and extend that lead. And Enricoya starting to catch up to those timing loops now, so it's actually fallen from a minute. That's why it has fallen from a minute, trying to level out after those pit stops. So yeah, the 404 Glam Racing car could be a lot closer than it first seemed. That's very much a lot closer. Very much indeed. In any case, they're still at the top. Viducton again back to the garage as that's why the time's going down, because that was relative to makes sense, that was relative to Viducton. So yes, they are still over a minute ahead. But that makes sense, see? That makes sense. You'd think I'd have know what I'm doing after 4 years, but sometimes the rookie errors still slip through. It's fine. I'm fine. Don't know about it. I'm okay then. The production said I'm okay. Yeah, okay, we'll see about that. Glam Racing then just about 68 seconds behind the CKR machine of Pedro Delgado, and looking to try and side through that gap. And both drivers have been into the pit lane recently, so like they will just try and what happens here is Juan Maya looks to try and get his way past Pedro Delgado in that CKR car, leading GT3 at the moment. And at the moment, we see Juan Maya still trying to find that way past. Of course, the GT3, Pedro Delgado, is under no obligation to let Juan Maya through. Absolutely none. It's up to Juan to get the move done and make the right move as well. Pedro could move out of the way, but I think he realises he's just going to lose time. He doesn't want to lose time right now. He's more than happy at just keeping to his own line and doing what he needs to do out there, which is absolutely fine. It's not a problem. 5 hours and 14 minutes left of the race. We are well and truly into hour number 7. Juan Maya is well and truly trying to find his way past. Can't quite do it at the moment, but he's looking to try and find his way through. There are some other battles, like Liam Rance after the stop-go penalty, trying to chase down the number 94. Now there is a stop-and-go penalty being awarded to the 777, which is the Gadget Husit car. for unsafe release and rejoining onto the track, blocking the number 11 line. So it was a SEM9 Axle car that was involved in that one. We saw that about 10 minutes ago, but it wasn't the LMP2 car, it was the prototype car, it was the hypercar of Josh Perwine they would have collected. So that's why, I was kind of expecting that to happen with the unsafe rejoin. So that's going to be stop and go 60-second penalty for the 777 Gadget Huset machine. That's pretty much, once that happens, that's pretty much, you know where that's going in the steward's office. You just know how that's all going to fold out and play out. As the B32 McLaren, B32 Racing, unfortunately no information on who's behind the wheel right now, but nevertheless they will be trying to get the laps in. Currently 5th in GT3. They'll be trying to close in as much as possible. Now I wonder if I can try and find out who's part of that B32. As there's the 717 Unison Racing car into the pits. Now it could be Kara Holmer Herbgaard, as my Danish is absolutely abysmal. Rasmus Borgvist, Pelle Andersen, those are the three that are listed there. They finished 9th in GT3 in the previous season, so one of those three. Unfortunately, we just don't know who at the moment. Unfortunate, but there we go. There's Muhammad Aleef in the SEM9 Axle number 21, making its way down the pit lane and rejoining to the circuit. And hopefully you are enjoying the coverage so far. It has been great to have you along, watching along with us. Of course, within the YouTube chat, feel free to ask any questions. I'll try and fumble through them as much as possible. Failing that, we've got Twitter as well, hashtag GTR24H. Get involved, as long as it's clean we can use it. Same for the drivers. Liam Rance, though, riding aboard with him as he's trying to close in on the Burst Esports Gooder sunglasses. Number 94, Rasmus Andreasen up ahead. That's going to be a battle for 3rd place. And let's see how they go through Sunset Bend. That's just full commitment, full faith in the car to make it round. And on to the start finish straight once again, up towards turn 1. The battle will rage on, I'm sure, for a battle. Got podium written all over it. Liam Rance taking a bit of grass and sand on the right hand side. It's not fair to call it sand, but it's grass that's not been watered for a long time. Let's just say that. I mean, in Florida, that's going to happen with a lot of sunshine. And seeing how they make their way through Gurney Bend up towards the hairpin turn. A bit too far for Liam Rance to try and move down the inside. Oh, but that was a bit of a knock then from Andreasen. Might have hit the curve slightly wrong, and Liam Rance now, that's going to be all the invitation he needs to try and go down the inside here. They've got a satellite racing machine up ahead. Maybe it's going to benefit Liam Rance here. If anything, it might hinder him. The two teams coming together at the wrong time on track, maybe, and yes, that's the case. Oh, so unfortunate for satellite racing, but that is how motorsport goes sometimes. Liam Rance not able to get his way past, and Andreasen will be thanking his stars and thanking the GTE that it couldn't find the way past. That was Liam Rance trying to find his way through, and I almost thought here that the satellite race car might have just helped or put in a helping hand, but no, he did the right thing, tried to stick to its line and tried to get out of the way as much as possible, but no way through this time around. And Andreasen still has Liam Rance down the inside, and there goes even more to the inside. One of the hypercars down towards the final turn. It's the other Burst Esport car, the Simplexity one, that's trying to find its way through. Both teams meeting each other on the same parts of the track in totally different cars. I could not have called that whatsoever. And somehow they've all made it through. Liam Rance moves ahead of Rasmus Andreasen, and in all of that as well, the Burst Esports, a sigh of relief from production as well that it all ended as it did. But the Burst Esports Simplexity also not helping the Gooder Sunglasses sister car. It's just a case of every team is out there for themselves. They might be sharing a day, but that's about it. My goodness. Well, Rasmus Andreasen here will now have to work hard to try and find his way past. was close, wasn't it? That was very, very close, but Andreasen still not going to let this go. He's still onto the back of Liam Rance here, so time will tell if he can try and catch up and see if he can make the move past again. Andreasen here, still trying to close in on Liam Rance, but you see Rance here is managing to extend that gap now. So Satellite Racing in the 164 able to now move further clear and try and just get further and further up the road. And for the Burst eSports Gooder sunglasses, they might be due a stop pretty soon. Let's have a look. No, apparently they've just come out of the pits. I'm not sure I believe that one. However, they are out there at the moment, going through Sunset Bend and onto the start from the straight once again, as we are fast approaching hour number 8. And very, very soon, there will be 2/3 race distance. The satellite, the weather radar in the bottom left-hand of your screen, that shows you to the southwest of the second. You see those pockets of weather just emerging out of seemingly nowhere. That's what could happen. That's what we're in for here in Florida. And that rain is getting quite close to the circuit. It looks like it's just a bit of light rain at the moment, but knowing Florida, that could get worse. I'm just having a view of it on my own. Yes, a bit of light rain and rain weather front sweeping in from the southeast towards the circuit. So that's going to be on the driver's mind for sure. We saw a little bit of rain at the top of the hour, but it's been drying ever since. It was only about a 5-minute shower, and it's been pretty much not raining ever since. The track has been drying. There will still be very, very small places where the track is still damp, but not very many. There's Daniel Krasnai in the 585 Aztec Sim Sports by Volante Racing Team. They're currently 3rd in class, about 13 seconds behind Glam Racing at the moment. They're all to play for. As you can see, the 5-member team at the moment racing out there. So they're now up towards the final corner. What has been a very dramatic last hour, I have to say. A lot's happened. A lot has happened. We've had Team Varducton, things not go their way. We've also had the 777 Gadget Hooson not once but twice spinning around. And we've also had a penalty for Liam Rance as well, for a 60-second penalty for contact made with Varducton. That's put them down to 3rd place. And a 60-second stop go meant that they had to concede the lead, as we see Liam Rance now right on the money to try and find his way back through the order on the track that's just shy of 6 kilometres. It's a long lap here. You know, in the GT cars, in the GTE cars, you're lapping under 2 minutes. In the GT3s, if you're lapping under 2 minutes, you're doing a splendid job. So, there's Rasmus Andreasen, who's slowly losing touch with Liam Rance in that satellite racing car. Gap is now around roughly 2 seconds at the moment. Still, anything could happen. I mean, we saw those penalties being dished out as well. That's always a possibility coming into this. Always a possibility. You know, these gaps really mean a lot, grand scheme of things, as we see BTEs and GT3s, and there's even a hypercar in there. Oh, that's Andreasen who has to take to the grass. Oh, that's close. The satellite racing car gets a knock there. And the Team Adrenaline car just manages to get away with that one, as Andreasen is trying to find his way past the GTE satellite racing car. And back onto the power, just about made it through with everybody intact. Just about. No one had their head in their heart in their lungs or heart on their mouth, did they? Oh, that was a close one. It all started here when the Unison Racing car was trying to get the move through. And there's a lot going on there. There is a lot going on there. But the satellite racing car was very lucky. It didn't pitch itself or anybody else around. Yellow flags out for the 717 Unison Racing somewhere out in Sector 3. And they haven't moved for a while. That's going to be concerning. So they haven't moved just yet. We do have a replay coming up. See what's happening here, what we're going to see. So this is Rasmus Andreasen, who was finding his way through. Now in towards the final corner. What happens here? Oh my goodness, that's why the 717 wasn't moving anymore. And Andreasen and the Unison Racing car make contact. Now that Unison car has not moved since then. It's not moved since then. But that's going to be a huge concern at the moment. And have they made their way to the pits, I wonder. Let's hope so. Because a bit of contact, a substantial amount of contact between the two. And I wonder how much damage there will be to the 94. Yeah, I think they're very hard to judge. Gonna leave that to the stewards. It's their job. I shout in the box. That's all I do. But we'll see what they make of that one as and when they will come to that decision. As there goes, I think that was the Moradness eStars car. Yes, it was the Moradness eStars car making its way through. So that's the hypercar making its way through. And Max Bunovic, according to my timings, it still has not moved. Is he still there? Is that car still there? Well, let's have a look and see what happens here from Max Bunovic's point of view. As we'll see then, the Burst eSports Gooder sunglasses now behind. So Max Bunovic here is thinking about trying to pass the car ahead. Oh, that's not as straightforward as it looks. That's a technical fault, I think, because the car was going straight on. And as you see, it stayed there. It would have moved on by now. That's a technical fault for Max Bunovic. That will be why the car has not moved. And since then, the car's now back into the garage. So, yeah. So for Rasmus Andreasen, because he went around the outside and he had no idea the Unison Racing car was going to go straight on. Yeah, you see, it's trying to start. Max Bunovic is trying to make that car go. It's just not going. Some sort of issue on his end in the cockpit has gone wrong just as he was approaching Sunset Bend. Oh, that's one of the worst places. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that didn't turn out so bad for Unison Racing, because if they had the hardware failure and they went straight on, there'd be a lot more damage to that car than there is right now. So almost that contact has saved them from any big damage. Well, whilst we try and get to the bottom of what's happening with Unison Racing, it is time for a commercial break. And when we come back, more action than you can possibly imagine as we approach the 8th hour. Don't go anywhere.
The 2022 Endurance E-Racing World Championship brought to you in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriots, Aztec Sim Sports, Global Flix, Motorvision.tv, Sten Goldman, ESTV, and Film Vault Limited.
Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
Just think about the fun things you do online. Diving into movies you love. Shopping. Enjoying free Wi-Fi with your morning coffee. Wait, who's that guy? Meet the Digital Snooper. It can be your internet service provider peeking at what you do online, or a cyber criminal on a mission to snitch your credit card info, or a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. Uh-oh. But don't worry. NordVPN keeps all these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. The best part? It's just a click. Yep, internet security is that easy.
You can get NordVPN today at a 60% discount by visiting gtr24h.org/VPN.